Hello, everyone. I'm Karuna Singh, Regional Director Asia for EarthDay.org, an organization that grew out of the first Earth Day, which was on April 22nd, 1970. And today, 55 years later, we engage with over 150,000 organizations in some 190 countries to take the environmental movement forward. The first Earth Day was really one for students in campuses, in universities, in other educational institutions who came together to demand better, better laws for their environment. And today it continues. Youth are still in the forefront. In fact, particularly so now because youth are the first generation that have been born into climate change and the last, believe me, the last generation that will be able to do anything to solve it. So I'm so glad to be here with you at this Youth Climate Summit and appeal to youth that they have to take the environmental movement forward. Why youth? Because you will inherit the planet for many more years than I or others of my generation will. This planet, which is warming, where there's biodiversity loss, where there's resource scarcity, and rising sea levels, is not going to be the world where you will be comfortable living. So you need to do something about it. You have bright ideas, you have fresh perspectives, you are innovative, and you know how to turn things into business models that will not only save the environment, but also earn you your livelihood. Think of youth-led startups in climate tech, the circular economy models, and climate education platforms that reshape our awareness globally. Another very important point for you is that the jobs in the green economy are expanding rapidly, and you need to be prepared. You need to be skilled to take up these jobs. According to the International Labour Organization, the green economy holds significant promise for youth employment in the coming years. Projections indicate that by 2030, targeted green and blue policy measures could create an additional 8.4 million jobs for young people globally. So you need to be prepared to be able to compete for these jobs. There are two things that I would particularly like to focus for you. Ask your governments to include climate literacy as mandated in their nationally determined contributions. Because unless that is done, you will not understand how your actions are going to affect the climate. So wake up right here, right now, and take the movement forward. It is for your benefit much more than mine. Thank you for inviting earthday.org to take on the Asia section of this summit. And let me now introduce you to one of my young colleagues who also looks after youth affairs. His name is Rumit Walia. Rumit, can I hand it over to you to take it forward now? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Karuna ma'am, for giving this opportunity to me. And I'm glad to be here at this amazing summit where a lot of youth are gathering all at once, not in person, but virtually, all those voices coming together. And before I move to the work that Earth Day has done and is being doing, and recognizing people, all the amazing youth that I have had the honor to work with, let me tell you a little bit about this year's Earth Day theme and why is it very important. The theme this year is our power, our planet. And it goes literally as well as generic as well. Like we youth, as youth, have the power to change our planet, and power like the renewable energy sources, which are actually powering our planet, is also changing day by day. And the future really truly depends on that. The theme Our Power, Our Planet has been selected in light of the urgent issue of global warming. As we all are aware, the combustion of fossil fuels releases greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, significantly contributing to global warming. our power, our planet. Therefore, calls upon all individuals, particularly leaders and all organizations, to unite to A, reduce energy consumption, and B, transition to renewable energy sources such as solar and wind. And I'm proud to say that India has been leading in one of those, and many of the countries that youth are speaking, their countries are doing so much efforts to rely on renewable energy. They're increasing their wattages, their gigawatts, and their all of their plants, big plants, government buildings, even civil organizations, they are moving towards renewable energy, and it is growing. The need for the power is growing, as well as the need for renewable energy is also there. And we as youth, I'm saying again, and I'm gonna be saying it again and again, that we as youth have the power to change our planet. So let's move to showcasing some of our projects before we move on to the speakers. That we have wonderful five speakers from five regions in Asia. I'm going to be telling you about some international, national, local to regional, things that we do, the projects that we do, efforts that Earth Day has done. And I'm glad that I'll be sharing that. It's always an honor to share Earth Day Dogs, youth engagement work across Asia region that's not just climate vulnerable, but also very rich in youth potential and leadership. And Earth Day since 1970s, billions of youth have come together, and every year, not just on 22nd of April, but as we say, every day is Earth Day. Billions of people, 195 nations, 100,000 of organization, they're continuing their work towards the planet, and the theme is like every year it keeps on changing because we focus on, so for example, this year it's our power, our planet. Last year it was planet versus plastic. But these are the key areas that everybody all the time is working. So let me begin at the global level. There are so many initiatives that I can describe here, but I would like to highlight few of them. So starting with My Future My Voice campaign, which features 231 young environmental leaders from around 113 countries. These inspiring individuals, united by a shared commitment to protect the planet, are using their voices and action to create a better future. They're not waiting for change, they are leading it. So it's not like these are our ambassadors, not just for Earth Day Network. These are actually the ambassadors of Mother Earth, the planet, and they are with themselves taking millions of people together as a community, working on their initiatives, their technological innovations, their community work on the groundwork, and that is what bringing the change. Another global initiative that I would like to highlight here is Climate Education Coalition, a powerful alliance of around 100 organizations working together to make climate education mandatory in schools worldwide. The coalition emphasizes on green jobs, technologies, and policies, along with civic engagement and youth empowerment. Because if we are to reverse climate change, climate literacy must become as basic as reading and math. And believe me, Earth Day is at the very forefront, pursuing governments of different nations to put climate education into these indices, and youth is playing a very key role into it. And let's zoom in into the Asia region, where like I also manage the youth affairs in the Southeast Asia region, and it's wonderful what initiatives are coming out of it. One of our strongest regional pushes around energy literacy. So in partnership with Energy Swaraj, we are promoting a multilingual energy literacy training course that empowers individual to understand the energy that they use, where it comes from, and how it affects the planet. This course helps bridge the gap between awareness and action, allowing people to make informed choices at home, in school, within institutions, in society. And it's just basic. Everybody, just as we said, that climate literacy, this is part of it. So being energy literate is like one of the necessities right now in life, because as I've been saying, our future depends on energy. Now, back in 2015, I'm taking you 10 years back, because that's where I interacted with Earth Day Network as well. We hosted the Southeast Asia Youth Environment Conclave, gathering hundreds of youth across the region to share solutions, spark collaborations, and amplify climate action. It became a launching pad for many of the young leaders we continue to work with today, including me. I was just working with my group in a village and here and there, and but Earth Day Network forte is recognizing people. And at that time, back in June 2015, did this, and then I'm here right now working with Earth Day, taking these initiative forward as well. Let's come to India. So Our national efforts have grown steadily over the years. One of our signature recognition that I would like to highlight is the Young Earthpreneurs Awards, which I've been leading here, and it's been three cohorts. The third one is happening right now, and it's like an open call for ideas. Because I remember when a lot of students are in college. When we were in college, we had these amazing ideas, but there were no recognition just for ideas. So we're like, we must have a recognition that is just for ideas, and we must help them develop their ideas into green entrepreneurship, into green businesses. So we kind of connected them with mentors and incubation centers, and that's how it became a very, very good initiative. We also engage young minds through creative formats like eco-comic art context. Like, we do not want comics to go away, but we want them to come back in a way that they also aware people about the climate, about the environment that is surrounding us. And also, like, there are so many programs, Great Global Cleanup Heroes. Again, I was one of them, and then there are so many which are cleaning up these places, lakes, rivers, and landfills, and everything. These people are needed to be recognized because the work that they do is phenomenal. Now, this year, under the 2025 theme, which is Our Planet, we have introduced a new initiative to spotlight everyday sustainability champions across India and Asia, which are focusing on energy literacy, energy conservation, switching to renewable energy. And you will see all these heroes, Our Planet heroes, that will be coming out this year. Most recently, EarthDay.org, Earth Day Network India, also partnered with the Ministry of Youth and Sports Affairs here in India for a nationwide engagement program. And it was a webinar. It was shared with millions of people, millions of youth, and the president of Earth Day, Ms. Kathleen Rogers, were invited. I was hosting the webinar, and it went very well. I mean, it's on the YouTube. I can share the link. You can watch it. And recently, before that, I mean, in the National Youth Festival, we were able to actually put forth the APA, planet, climate literacy, and all this important issue directly to the Prime Minister of India. I mean, there are so many initiatives again, but one more I would like to highlight here is we have Earth Reel contest. It is for like school students, for youth aged between 12 to 21, encouraging them short videos to make short videos on environmental themes, reaching a broad, vibrant community, because we know digitization is right there. I mean, we cannot put people away from phones. So why not use those phones? Why not use those reel to make something like a very good content around it? And in line to that, we have I mean, dozens of ebooks available, toolkits available, climate literacy handbooks, Invest in Our Planet toolkit for schools, training resources for institution. Uh, we have so many ebooks which are covering all these people that are doing the amazing work, Earth the Star, the Rising Stars. And we also very recently did on the last year theme Planet versus Plastic exhibition on indigenous art. So there were many paintings which were inspired from the indigenous art forms, and school students, you wouldn't believe, as young as 6 year old, they have portrayed such beautiful things. I mean, putting plastic into the indigenous art, how it would have been if plastic was in that area or era. You should actually see it. It's online. It's available on the QR code that we will be sharing. But at the heart of all of this, our strength lies in recognizing, connecting, and uplifting young people across the region. Whether it's a classroom in Delhi, a podcast in Malaysia, or a cleanup in Kathmandu, youth are not just participating in the climate movement, they are leading it. And EarthDay.org is proud to be walking with them every step of the way. So once again, I welcome you all to this special session of the Global Youth Climate Summit, where we spotlight bold, youth-led actions for our planet. Today's speakers are change makers who have not only innovated and implemented practical ways to reduce carbon footprints, but also passionately advocating to mandate climate education. Because without widespread understanding, meaningful climate action cannot take root. So now moving to our speakers, each of whom brings a powerful story of action, innovation, and impact. Let's hear how they're shaping a more sustainable and informed future for all. So first we have Miss Yixio Dai from China. Yixio is a student at the University of Chicago focusing on the indigenous community and climate justice. She's founder of the non-profit Climate Resilience Project in Yunnan, China, and was featured by UNDP. She has documented and translated endangered Dongba songs and also published a picture book. She has been a speaker and delegate at COP29 and Asia Pacific Climate Conference of Youth. Today she's going to be speaking about indigenous wisdom in climate crisis, climate justice, and Dongba philosophy in Yunnan. So over to you, Yisil. We're looking forward to the amazing presentation that you have.
Hello everyone, my name is Yixio Dai and I'm a student from University of Chicago. Today, I'm sharing about indigenous wisdom in the time of climate crisis. And here's a brief introduction. So right now, I'm currently taking a gap year. And for the past year, I've been working with indigenous communities in Yunnan Mountains. And I've been documenting how their ancient wisdom helps navigate our climate emergency. And it actually fundamentally challenges how I approach conservation. And I hope it's very inspiring to you as well. So here is where Yunnan is. Yunnan province is on the southwest of China, and it shares a border with Laos in the south and Vietnam in the southeast. So my mission was to amplify indigenous perspectives on environmental justice. And as I can remember, when I was interviewing with elders, one elder put it plainly, and he told me that when nature suffers, our human rights bleed. So climate issue is actually a human rights crisis. And 50 families shared their reality with me when I was interviewing. So here's a question that I was asking myself. Do we only protect nature because it's useful? And this question kept surfacing because when we say we're saving forests for resources or for our children's future, are we actually telling communities that your survival today is less important? And that tension is real in their words. So when I was talking with them, one indigenous people told me, we and nature are brothers and not resources to manage, but it's very keen to respect. And that changes the entire conservation conversation for me. And here, as you can see, this is also part of my work. As you can see on the slide, it's called Dongba script. It's the last living hieroglyphic system in the world. And it actually holds sacred ecology in its bones. So we can see that mountains are depicted as ancestors, and rivers are drawn as lifeblood. And when modern science calls a landslide geological, Dongba calls it mountain's grief. However, both truth matter for solutions. So other than recording, translating, and writing down them in a digital version, here's what I was also doing. So I created an illustration book and I also published it. And so this is part of my work, but my fieldwork shows a clear pattern, which is that when policies ignore spiritual connections, protection backfires. So what works? There are actually some actionable steps from my findings. We can try to bring these conversations directly into policy rooms and make it unfiltered. We also need to remember that cultural respect isn't nice to have. It's very essential for lasting conversation, conservation, sorry. And right now, I'm keep doing this project. If you'd like to discuss or better, let's collaborate, here's how to reach out to me. Because effective climate action needs all voices at the table. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Yixio, for the presentation. It was truly enriching, getting to know how you documented all the songs and how indigenous wisdom and knowledge truly holds a powerful message and is very important for today's youth to look back and then take inspiration and implement some of those ideas into today's world because we as youth literally have the power to change the planet. Now, moving to our next speaker, who's an amazing person. I am honored to know from Malaysia, Miss Melissa Tan. Melissa Tan is a TV host, actress, and climate activist known for promoting zero waste and sustainable living through her web platform. She organizes events like Green Day Out at the Conscious Market and collaborates with brands, Pcor, and NGOs. A Fashion Revolution Malaysia coordinator, she was Malaysia's sole delegate on Sylvia Earle's Antarctica climate expedition and is also our EarthDay.org's ambassador. Today, we're going to be seeing some of the clips from the community cleanups that Melissa has been doing from a very long time, and we'll be hearing her speaking about sustainable fashion. So, over to Melissa.
Cleanups are great. We want to get as much trash out of the ocean and off the beaches. With more than a garbage truck full of plastic waste entering the ocean every single minute, cleanups cannot be the only solution. But I believe cleanups are still very powerful. Here's how we can get the most impact out of a cleanup. We are here in Pulau Gezumbo in Penang, Malaysia, and despite no humans living here, our impact is obvious.
Gazumbo is actually a very important island because in front of the island actually is a big patch of seagrass area, which is very unique environment and a unique ecosystem for Penang.
These seagrass meadows are very important coastal habitats and incredibly biodiverse, sequestering carbon and supporting food systems and the livelihood of the local community. They are critical to the health of the ocean.
Now I know it's not just about cleaning up.
Yes.
What's the most important part?
Data will tell us what, where and why, and then by doing the data, we are able to solve the long-term solution for this island.
For example, today we have a lot of plastics. Yeah, then single-use plastic will be the one that we have to reduce. That will be served as a way forward, for example, for our no single-use plastic policies on that.
Have you ever wondered where trash goes after a cleanup? Some people just throw them away, and hey, it's better in the landfills than in the oceans. But we can divert as much waste away from landfills and oceans if we just sort our trash.
So basically, what we are recording here for each of the bottles collected. So we separate by the bottles plastic and then their bottle caps. We got 22 of them. Baby size, adult size, all kind of slippers. Can open night market already.
Okay, we have 5 pieces of styrofoam here.
One slipper, Mela?
One slipper. 5 HDP. 5 HDPE.
So even if this is recyclable, if they show up dirty like this, they're not going to get recycled.
Most possibly they do not want it. The best point is that when you finish using your plastic is to go to recycling immediately, not to trash them. If you trash them, they will get dirty and that's it. That's the end life of the plastic.
So, you know, even when we're getting drinks and that plastic is recyclable, there's always going to be elements that aren't, like the label itself. These tiny pieces are super hard to pick up and the beach is covered with them.
If you look closely, all these are disintegrating into smaller pieces. These are the main source of microplastic that is already going into our food chain. If you look at some of the bottles, I can actually show you the expiry date or even where it comes from. For rubbish or marine litter, they don't need passport to travel around.
You got some good nets here.
We collected a lot of ghost gears, especially fishing nets. Really terrifying to see the island.
Why did you get the community to come together to do this?
We are all people who love the sea. So we're going to clean this thing up, all right? We may not be able to do it today, but we'll come back, we'll definitely clean this place.
Okay, 60. Nice. Oh my god, we barely did anything.
After all this hard work, we're still collecting like very little rubbish. It's like, wow, I can't imagine, you know, how long to finish all this.
So we didn't want to add any more waste with our cleanups. What were some things we did?
We sourced these used bags from factories in Penang.
We filled these bags pretty quickly with all sorts of trash. Next comes a rigorous process of sorting.
We separated it out into 4 main groups. And out of the 4 groups, one of it is trash, non-recyclable. So that will have to go to landfill and BBP will be picking that up. And then the other 3 categories, the main one is plastic bottles, which is PET. Those are high value, they will be recycled back into plastic. The other one is rigid plastics, which are like your food containers, your shampoos. They have different components inside. And then the third category, and this is quite interesting, is ghost gear, the fishing nets. And fishing nets have many different kinds of plastics. Most likely it will be turned into fuel through pyrolysis. But in any case, our recycling partners, they're certified in collecting ocean-bound plastics, so they will be able to maximize our recovery rate from this cleanup.
Even with removing almost 800 kilograms of trash in a day, we cannot outrun the amount of trash we're creating. Indiscriminate use of single-use plastic needs to be a thing of the past. All of us need to turn off the tap on plastic waste.
So a cleanup isn't just a cleanup. What is the message you want people to take away from this?
This cleanup shouldn't just be a cleanup, it should be a starting point for awareness, for action, and I think having academia here, state actors, community, we will be able to hopefully spread the message to a wider crowd.
This is existence of humanity, and we cause it, and we have to join hands to find a solution. We might not be able to solve a long-term solution, but if we start doing something today, we can actually create a better future also.
This is your environment. It belongs to you. Please take good care of it. If you don't, nobody else will.
So we hope that in future we can have more people to join us, everybody to join us. We need you.
We are all part of the problem. Now we need to bear responsibility and be part of the solution, whether it's a cleanup or preventing waste from becoming waste in the first place. We need to act now.
Hey everyone, I'm Melissa, and like many of you, I was bitten hard by the shopping bug. I would buy things just because they were on sale or if I was just vaguely interested in it. But when I left my corporate job and started working and traveling as a model, I spent months away from my overflowing wardrobe, living from just a modest suitcase. And it was like this weight just fell away. I still had to dress well, it was part of the job. But stripped down to just the essentials, I realized I was dressing better than ever before. Because every single day, I was wearing things I felt good in and were flattering to my body type. I had only what I needed, nothing more, in my accidental capsule wardrobe. And that's when I realized shopping more doesn't necessarily help me dress better. Now we know that social media has accelerated the rise of the ultra fast fashion industry with hundreds, even thousands of designs released every single day just from a single brand. But the moment we see a trend, it's already on its way out to make way for the next. We can talk all day about the data behind fast fashion's impact to our planet, its people, and all living things, and how it needs to stop. But what is a little more challenging to capture in numbers is how it affects our own relationship with fashion. Personally, it took me years longer to figure out my own sense of style. If I do succumb to a trend, I find I regret it pretty quickly just weeks later when it passes. These impulse buys never truly worked for us, and they don't have longevity in our closets once those external influences move on. Unfortunately, they move on even faster than before, which is why we are disconnected. Do you remember your favorite piece of clothing growing up? Maybe it was a sweater you wore all the time, or a jacket you picked up with your mom. The pieces we brought into our lives back then were distinct, when production and consumption was a lot slower. They were imbued with memories and meaning. Now, we struggle to remember all the pieces we own because there's just too many and they don't stick around for long. And that taught me to not appreciate the clothing I have. When fashion became cheap, plentiful, and treated as disposable, we tend not to value the people and resources behind each garment. We might even find it harder to develop a sense of connection or appreciation for any garment, no matter how well it was made. Novelty reigns instead, and when the novelty of a piece wears off, we lose interest. While awareness about sustainability in fashion is rising and secondhand is definitely better than buying fast fashion new, secondhand fashion can accidentally perpetuate that same appetite for cheap, short-term use fashion. Their price tags are lower, it's abundant, and thrift hauls are definitely a thing. And the misconception that the secondhand market will just find a way to reuse a garment reinforces the behavior to consume at the same rate and just donate them after. Let's also not forget that fast fashion erodes culture and identity. Fashion used to represent where we came from and the cultural roots of the people who wear them. Now, people across the world wear very similar things. Social media and marketing has given us templates to fit into, and all that cultural diversity has largely been replaced by homogeneity. So how can we slow fashion consumption, deepen our relationship with fashion, and come out even more fashionable in the age of social media while diluting its temptation? Here's what I did that really helped. Get to know thyself. Audit your wardrobe, but not to declutter. When I first quit fast fashion 6 years ago, my first wardrobe audit found 36 long pants and jeans accumulated over a decade, and I didn't like almost all of them. I realized we buy duplicates of the things we already own, and we also make the same wardrobe mistakes again and again. An audit helps us understand what's crammed into our closets. So I pulled them all out, I grouped them up, and then I noticed the types of styles, colors, numbers of pieces, and reflect and ask questions like, does this suit me? Would I buy it again? And does it fit into my lifestyle? This process helps me detect patterns and avoid repeating past purchasing mistakes and bring out the hidden potential of my current wardrobe. Is to set boundaries and challenge yourself. We sometimes think education, awareness, and the hard, dirty facts about fast fashion will change our behavior. And it can, in many cases. Or we can get desensitized. I find we can transcend the need for these impact reminders through lived experiences that bakes in healthier fashion habits and develops our internal motivation. Here's where setting boundaries for myself has been very helpful. Boundaries are a good thing. They give us a chance to discover what lies beyond consumption. Try a buy nothing year or a buy nothing new year. That's where I started when I first quit fast fashion. I reloved my wardrobe, borrowed, thrifted, swapped, and I just never stopped because I exercised the creative muscle instead.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for sharing those wonderful videos, compiling all those, and talking to us about sustainable fashion. It truly is very important how an actress, a model is breaking stereotypes and moving to sustainable fashion, doing swap. It was truly amazing. Thank you so much. So now let's move to our third speaker from India, a dear friend, Anup Paikare. Anup Paikare is the founder of Neurup Tech Solutions Private Limited, an aspiring social entrepreneur and electronics engineer. He's a graduate of Orissa University of Technology and Research. Anup believes that profit can be generated through purposefulness, innovation, and is on a mission to save the lives of millions of women globally from the harmful effects of indoor air pollution. Clean energy star is something that we proudly call Anup as well. He's our hero. He's our clean energy star from Earth Day Network India. And today is going to be speaking about his innovation and how he's doing all the amazing work. Over to you, Anup.
Namaskaram, everyone. I hope you all are doing well over there, and I hope you all are healthy and happy. I am Anup Paikarai, founder of Neurup Tech Solutions Private Limited. First of all, I'm honored to be the part of the 55th anniversary of Earth Day and share my story that is aligned with this year theme, Our Power, Our Planet. But before I share my story, I have two questions to ask you all. But I already know the answers. So, question number one. How many of you love your mother? Please raise your hand. And I'm sure all of you did. Question number two. How many of you want to see your mother live at least 100 years of age? Please raise your hand. And I'm sure all of you did. But what if I say close to 2 million mothers die every single year and close to 250,000 children from a problem that has not been solved from the beginning of human race? And that problem is indoor air pollution caused by burning biomass such as wood, cow dung cake, and charcoal in the primitive mud stove or clay stove. And due to the incomplete combustion of such biomass, it leads to emission of toxic gases such as carbon monoxide and particulate matter. You will be shocked to know that indoor air pollution takes more life than malaria, TB, and HIV combined. And it is one of the major contributor to lung cancer, COPD, and pneumonia, according to WHO. And close to 25% of world population, around 2 billion people, are still facing this issue in 2024. And you all must be thinking, it's a simple problem. Just distribute free induction stoves or gas stoves, and we solve this problem. We saved millions of mothers, but it is not that easy. Initially, we also thought the same. But when we were doing our survey in the rural area, we found many other factors that were not known to us. For example, in rural areas, men of the families are the major decision makers. The women do not have much financial freedom to purchase anything. They're using the wood stoves for many years, like they have seen their parents use it, their neighbors use it, their siblings use it. It has become a part of their life, not something that you can easily replace. The fuel, which is wood and cow dung, is easily available in the rural India and Africa. Finally, many of the women said cooking with wood stove enhances the flavor than cooking with gas stoves or induction. Maybe that is the reason why people love to barbecue with charcoal. But again, these are some of the peculiar findings. After finding this inside, we figure out a huge gap in the clean energy and clean cooking segment. And that is where we found our mission statement. Instead of replacing their wood stove with better stoves, we will make their existing wood stove better. So now I will be demonstrating you our patented product Chulif, the world's first heat-powered air blower to increase efficiency of any biomass burning stove.
WHO reported that close to 3 million women die every single year due to inhalation of toxic fume produced by this primitive mud stove, as you can see here. To solve this problem, we have created the world's first heat-powered air blower to increase the efficiency of any mud stove. So first, you need to make drill holes in mud stove using a drill, as you can see here. Once the holes are made, this is the device. You have to insert that device in the drill hole. And after that, you have to apply clay to permanently fix the device in that position to make sure the device do not displace as well as no heat is escapes from that hole. And here you can see we are using the same fuel, which is the wood, and all you have to do is give a small kickstart to our device to get it started. Our device is a thermomechanical gadget that operates from the heat of the mud stove. It converts the heat energy into the rotation of the fan. The fan then sucks air from outside and continuously provide air to the combustion chamber. And here you can see barely any smoke is produced and the flame is glowing clean and bright. With only 900 rupees cost, no change in habit, up to 30% reduction in emission and 50% less exposure, this is the solution to indoor air pollution.
Electric is the future, gas stove is the future. Why am I pushing a frugal technology into the market? Yes, in 10 to 20 years, all the stove will be electric. But can we let 2 to 3 million poor African and Indian women die every single year till we achieve that? And what if we can't achieve that? Yes, our product may not be the vaccine, but it is the mask that makes sure you're alive until you get the vaccine. It is a product that aims for a smooth and soft transition to reduce the number of deaths during this phase. So why exactly I'm sharing my journey? What is the motive? Awareness is great. Educating others is great. But I believe the greatest way to deliver impact is to create something that give the other person something better than what they are using right now. So from today, try to build stuff. Let's make a website or an app to track your electricity consumption. Or let's make a small gadget that turn off light once the person leaves the room. Again, you don't have to be a scientist or a researcher to make anything. You just need the urge to create a change. I'm an electronics engineer who is making a pure mechanical product that improves combustion, which is a chemistry phenomenon, to make people adopt to my solution, which is as aspect of business psychology. If I can do this all, any one of you can. And I am no better than any one of you. I just decided no matter what, I will solve the problem of indoor air pollution. Who knows? Someone sitting over there will be the next person to revolutionize solar panels or create some innovative wind energy solution or to create a simple tool that fits to a water tap and stop the dripping of water that can save thousands of gallons of drinking water every single year. But some of you might be thinking, okay, if I make a solution and it fails, what if nobody adapt to it? What if my idea never went off? There's a saying, I like it a lot. If you win, you become the leader. But if you lose, you become the teacher. So even if, let's say, your startup fail, you are still going to inspire thousands who will be successful. I started this journey in memory and for the respect of all those startups and solutions who came before me and failed to solve the problem. And to be an inspiration for all the startups who will come after me. At least the world will know that this type of solution was made and let's say it failed. So they learned the lesson and I become the stepping stone for someone else's success. And I believe it's a good enough purpose to live by. And there is a small story that is coming to my mind in the end. If a blind man is very thirsty and is walking towards a well, and you are watching, he's dying of thirst, and he tries to get the water and he fell inside the well and died. Who takes the blame? The blind man are the unaware people in the world who just want their net needs to be met. But we are the one who is watching. So let's help them. Finally, ending this presentation with this thought, there is not a single solution to sustainability. I believe everyone plays their role and collectively solves this issue. Close to around 15 mothers would have lost their life from indoor air pollution during this 8 minute of presentation. So I kindly request you all to join us in this battle for the freedom of millions of mothers, the freedom to breathe freely. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, Anup. Thank you so much for sharing that video as well. It was truly amazing seeing your innovation and how it's helping a lot of women, and not just women, I mean, a lot of people from indoor air pollution, and how it truly resonates with the theme that we have, which is our power, our planet. So now moving to our fourth speaker for today's Miss Nurul from Indonesia. She's a co-founder, Climate Catalyst Indonesia and Cluster, and with over 5 years of experience in writing, speaking, and leading climate action, she's a passionate climate justice advocate, researcher, and trainer from Indonesia. She aspires to influence and shape policies that uphold climate and environmental justice. Through Climate Catalyst Indonesia, she actively works to translate climate policy into strategic, impactful action across Southeast Asia. And we were just chatting, and she told me that there's this new club, new group that she has found, which is working on energy transitions, and she has been an advocate for climate education for a very long time. So over to you, Nurul, for to share your experience, to share your work from across people across the world, and we'll be glad to hear about your work.
Hi, and I wish you a pleasant day to everyone watching this live stream worldwide. My name is Nurul Habaib, and you can call me Lulu. I come from the coastal part of Makassar, Indonesia. I've been committing to advocate for climate justice by writing, speaking, and doing action for the climate over the past 5 years. And my aspiration is that achieving climate justice is never impossible. So do our rights to a good and healthy environment for current and future generations be fulfilled and fully enjoyed. Climate crisis might be invisible, but the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change 6 Assessment Report, or the IPCC AR6, scientifically proved how it will extremely, directly, and indirectly affect us. Little knowledge about the reality and consequences of this climate crisis will obstruct humans to acknowledge the vulnerability of the exposure, the ability to mitigate, adapt, and build resiliency from the climate crisis. I always believe that any action matters, no matter how big or small it is, all contributes for the betterment of our Earth. As a trainer, legal researcher, action initiator in international to local level, the spirit for mainstreaming climate awareness and inspiring climate action to grassroots level in various fora should be our core action. Through collaboration for collective action, me and my two colleagues have mobilized meaningful climate advocacy actions in various nexus by co-founding the Climate Catalyst Indonesia. And our work was honored to receive the IDN Times Youth Climate Warrior 2025 award. One of the empirical challenges we found during the advocacy is the way that the society, particularly those vulnerable to the climate impacts, thinks that their living activities are distant from the effects of the climate crisis. And there's nothing that they can do to address this. Even young people and university students in my hometown felt the same. Little did they know that in 2023, the two rock floods in just 3 months experienced by an island 15 minutes from our shores are a part of the adverse effect of this climate crisis. We identified a huge climate literacy gap. While these issues are mostly spoken in high-level meetings and forums in big cities, people at the local level are far from such knowledge. That's the reason why we initiated the Climate Catalyst Fellowship Program. With 11 classes tutored by 16 youth experts from all over the world, it inspires 70 youth. It empowers 70 youth to initiate and lead the implementation of 30 climate actions, recorded and disseminated in our book titled Catalyst of Change. This is the implementation of our 25-page handbook of curriculum we designed, which various success stories further published by 3 newsletters. We have mentored over hundreds to thousands of young people, and one of the innovative approaches we found effective in making this climate education accessible and action-oriented for youth can be done in 3 stages. One is that given that Indonesia is culturally and geographically diverse, design and climate education contents must consider integrating components of climate education to their socio, cultural, environmental, and economic context, and it is very essential as it enables them to realize how the climate crisis is integral to their life. Second is to empower them to create climate action. We continuously offer support and assistance for students who need guidance on how to craft an impactful climate action. Therefore, such climate education doesn't stay as a knowledge, as it also transforms to action that mitigates and adapts to the climate crisis. The third is that always stick to the power of collaboration and utilize the digital tools to amplify climate realities and solutions. Through this, we are able to not only promote but also to record best practices and lessons learned as a source of inspiration among generations to come. At the end, these efforts will contribute to amplifying the voice of grassroots affected from the adverse effect of the climate crisis, to establish a climate conscious, strong, and effective intervention to polycentric issues in society through public policy as a product of policy-making processes and legislation. On another aspect, the IPCC AR6 also highlighted that the power generation, buildings, industry, and transport are responsible for close to 80% of global emissions. Similar case occurs in Indonesia, where according to our enhanced nationally determined contribution, the energy sector ranked second as the contributors of national greenhouse gases emission. Finding the solution to mitigate climate crisis through energy sector requires not only a transition to clean energy, but also ensuring a just energy transition. This has made integrating engineering or STEM related solutions to energy transition with social, environment, economic considerations and solutions is very necessary. I always believe that youth can contribute to solving this issue. Therefore, to bridge the multidisciplinary nature of energy and environment nexus that contributes to just transition for mitigating climate change, me and my 2 colleagues collaborated to initiate the Indonesia's Energy Transition Study Club, or cluster, in bridging climate and just energy transition discourse. From Energy Transition 101 to exploring energy transition alternatives from wind, solar, waste, we have engaged with nearly 500 members from various disciplines and backgrounds to discuss and propose solutions that advances just energy transition from our 9 discussion episodes. And we vision that this cluster will become a pool of solutions offered by a network of experts in various domains of energy transitions that serves benefit to everyone, particularly the underserved and marginalized communities. Empowering society and communities and engaging public participation by social dialogue plays a key role in formulating pathways to a just energy transition and as an integral part of designing policy framework upon this cross-cutting issue that requires a multi-sectoral approach. We aspire that just energy transition will not only reduce emission, but also advances job creation, securing the current and future generations full access to the enjoyment of a good and healthy environment. All in all, I came back to the statement that any action matters. No matter how big or small it is, all contributes to our Earth. Climate actions can be done in many ways, and what we need is the willingness to commit and to act for our better climate, for our current and future generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nuru, for sharing that. It's truly inspiring the work that you and your team are doing in Indonesia. Now, moving to last but not the least, our speaker from Singapore, Cheryl, who is currently residing in the UK. And she's the founder of Temporary Local, is also an award-winning environmentalist, passionate about sustainability, just transitions, and social equity. A TEDx speaker and global advocate, she has collaborated with international agencies and NGOs And with a master's in international relations, she empowers communities and mentors youth, championing a more sustainable and equitable world through action and leadership. She's going to be talking about advocacy work, and we have some questions that people have been asking Cheryl, so she's going to be answering that as well. So over to you, Cheryl.
Hi everyone, my name is Cheryl and I'm honored to be here virtually with all of you at the Global Youth Climate Summit. I'm often say that I wear many hats, but of all of them, they share one goal, which is building a more sustainable, equitable future through environmental education and collective action. I'm currently based in the UK, working on net zero projects with corporates, but my roots in this work began long before in classroom, community halls, and regional campaigns across Asia in general. And over the years, I led initiatives with organizations like Singapore Youth for Climate Action, Up to Degrees, and the Singapore Eco Film Festival. And my focus has always been on two things. One, which is building empathy, and the other, which is building capacity. Because I truly believe that when people, especially young people, when they are heard, informed, and empowered, they become unstoppable. And one of the key areas I'm most passionate in is in promoting climate literacy. Not just about teaching what climate change is, but helping people understand why it matters in their daily lives and how they can respond and see where they fit in the global conversation. Through the programs I've run over the years, I've reached over around like 10,000 students, equipping them not with just knowledge, but with also the agency to act. And recently in 2024, I've had the privilege of leading a climate hackathon, which brought together youths across Asia to design localized and actionable solutions with the support of over 50 trainers and experts. And I've also represented Singapore at multiple UNFCCC COPs meetings, where I also seen firsthand the power and the necessity of youth voices in shaping policies, especially around climate education and also with climate actions supporting our nationally determined contributions. But one main thing I learned throughout this journey is that climate work isn't just about data or policy. It's about people. It's about understanding the intersectional impacts of climate change, from community health to economic inequality. It's about ensuring that, this education is not just only accessible, but relevant. And it's also about recognizing that each one of us, regardless of our background, we hold power. And that together, our power can move this planet forward together. And once again, I'm so grateful to be part of this summit. And I look forward to exchanging more learnings and ideas with everyone here. Thank you for listening and thank you for showing up for our planet.
Thank you so much, Cheryl, for that amazing work and answering the questions. Thank you, everyone from Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, India, China, all the people together at one platform, sharing their innovation, sharing their work, and how with one strength that we are all youth, and with Earth Day team like our power, our planet, we literally have the power. Youth have the power to change the planet for good, to change the planet for future generations. And really, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to the Right Here, Right Now Global Youth Climate Summit presented by SET Business School and UN Human Rights. And this session specifically partnered with Earth Day Network India, earthday.org. And thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for hearing. I'm sure many of you are watching this also have amazing ideas. We would love to hear them. Please do share with us. Please do share with people around you, because youth, as I said, have the power. And we extend our thank to all the youth that we are working with from all these years, 1970 and still going, as the largest movement, as you know, and youth is at the center and at the front as well. And we truly believe that youth will make climate education mandated into Indices 3.0, which is very crucial for all the people around the world, everybody, the new generation that is coming up, how important it's going to be. And that is what earthday.org at the network is primarily working on. All the work that we are doing with youth across these 195 nations have been amazing. And thank you everyone for joining. Now, before we close, here is the QR code on your screen where you can scan for resources, all the toolkits that I've shared, all the ebooks that I was talking about, and also all these. We have Rising Stars, we have Earth Day Stars who you can connect through us on the social media. Share your stories. We would love to have you as one of our Rising Stars and Earth Day Stars if you pass the eligibility. And then always stay tuned for all the new opportunities that are coming up. Earth Day has been planting across India mangroves, fruit trees. We've been doing cleanups around the world, around Asia. We have huge partnerships that we can develop on, and youth again is our strongest pillar. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this and signing out from Earth Day Network India. Thank you so much.